Indiana Jones, Lara Croft, Bandit Heeler, Hershel Layton, Dr. Liara T'Soni. These are some of the most famous media archaeologists right now. But how good of actual archaeologists are they? I asked Dr. Yelma Erkins, an archaeology professor from the University of California, Davis, if he'd interview these characters for a job as an archaeologist. As someone interested in archaeology, what he said was super interesting, especially what he had to say about Bandit Heeler's biggest weakness. Stay tuned. Okay, so first off, we have Indiana Jones. So the pros with him. Indiana, there he is. The pros are that he popularized archaeology and left a positive image of the field. I mean, I will say that one of the first careers I wanted to be was archaeologist because of him and all the Lego sets of him. Another pro is that he says artifacts belong in museums, not private collections, which I totally agree with. And he's a very engaging and knowledgeable professor, as you see in the show. The cons are that he cares about, quote, fortune and glory very explicitly, and treasure hunting. He also very famously can leave sites damaged or destroyed entirely. He'll prioritize the shiny artifacts over maybe a little clay pot that has a lot about a story. And he can dismiss indigenous people and what they've done. So should we hire him or should we just ignore him?
Well, as a professional archaeologist, I would say no, we're not going to hire Indiana Jones. And the main reason why is goals of archaeology are to understand human behavior and the evolution of humans. And my main issue with Indiana Jones, as much as he's done to popularize archaeology, which I totally appreciate. I saw Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark when I was a kid, and it made a big impression on me for sure. He's not interested in human behavior. Probably, if you've seen the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's like that opening scene, fantastic, super entertaining. I love India, I love the movie. But he goes into this tomb and he's like, dodging. There's all kinds of challenges, right? There's arrows shooting at him from the side. There's this pit, he almost falls into, and there's the tarantulas. And anyway, he gets to the end, and there's this gold idol, and all he cares about is like getting that gold idol so that it can go into a museum. And the whole tomb, after he takes the gold idol and he misjudges, I think, the weight of the gold idol when he puts that bag of sand on there, he got it wrong. And like the tomb, the thing goes down, the pedestal that the idol was on goes down, and the tomb falls apart, and there's that big rolling rock and stuff. And he didn't care about the tomb. The tomb is destroyed, but all he cared about was like that gold statue to get it into a museum. And no archaeologist would behave like that. I would be like, the gold statue, the gold idol is like almost inconsequential to the rest of that tomb. Well, like, what does that tomb tell us about humans and human behavior, that people would put all these booby traps in there to prevent anybody from getting in there? That says a lot about the values that culture had, and like these amazing technologies, like if like there's that one scene where he like puts his hand through the sun and then like darts fly out from the side. Like, that is an amazing technology. I want to know how those people figured that out, or like all these things are amazing technologies you would want to try to understand in its context. And so Indiana Jones is really more concerned with the things, and he's not concerned with the behaviors. And so for that reason, I'm probably not going to hire Indiana Jones, or I'm not going to vote for Indiana Jones to join my university. Sorry, Indy. And I mean, he's incredibly knowledgeable. It's true. Like I think a lot of people get this idea. There's like scenes where they ask him, I think he's like giving a lecture, or somebody pulls out a notebook and says something about some particular site, and he can rattle off all this information about, it's 5.6 meters tall, and it's, like it dates exactly to this year. He's like rattling off all this information, and no archaeologist that I know has that kind of like recall, knows information like that. We're really more at a kind of higher level, like interested in humans and human cultures, how they operate. We don't, those kinds of details. And students sometimes are surprised I can't tell them. I don't know, like off the top of my head, what year King Tut was born or something, or no. I don't know. I know like approximately when, but I don't know the exact year. I don't have that kind of information. So yeah, so Indiana Jones is, knows a lot, but ethically doesn't share my concerns for my interest in human behavior.
That's fair. Sorry, Indy.
Sorry.
Okay, well, we won't bring him on.
Okay.
But next for consideration is Lara Croft.
Lara Croft.
Her pros are that she's passionate about archaeology in the past, and she has effective methods of finding artifacts, if you consider that a pro. But the cons are that she's an explicit treasure hunter. She damages sites like Indiana Jones. She prioritizes shiny stuff over that which tell our story as humans. And she's sometimes portrayed as self-taught, other times portrayed as coming from an archaeological family and having a degree, but she might not have any formal training. So what are your thoughts? Should we hire her or no?
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to pass on Laura as well. And again, it's her concern for objects and not objects as objects. The value, like if you had two idols and one was gold and one was made out of clay, the gold one is somehow way more valuable inherently because it's gold. And to an archaeologist, that wouldn't matter. And also, I mean, really, most of my time as an archaeologist, I sit behind the computer or I'm in the lab.
You don't have arrows on your back at all times, or?
Yeah, I never have arrows on my back.
You don't carry a whip or anything?
I don't have a whip. I do have a nice hat.
Oh, that's good.
Because you gotta, keep the sun off your face. It's really her concern with like objects and not a concern with human behavior. I'm not so worried that she's self-taught. That doesn't bother me as much. But her lack of writing ability and lab skills might turn me off to Laura. Yeah.
So sorry, Lara. We're 0 for 2 now.
All right.
Okay. Next is some that people might be familiar with. Bandit Heeler from the show Bluey.
Okay.
The pros with him are that he's knowledgeable about archaeology. He can talk about it for an entire lecture. He uses, of course, complex terms and all that. He's genuinely interested in history, loves talking about it. And this might be his best pro. He has a PhD in archaeology.
Okay.
The cons, there's only one con, but it's a rather serious con. He's known to gnaw on bones. So, and assuming that these are kind of more, I know technically he'd be a paleontologist, I guess, because animals, but assuming that for them, humans are dogs.
Yeah.
Considered archaeologists. Anyway, would you recommend him or no?
Well, I have not seen Bandit Heeler, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but him gnawing on bones might be a negative. But I don't know. What's he interested in? Is he interested in dog behavior and the evolution of dogs? If so, if that's really what about, then I'd give him a good look. Does he write good papers? Has he got publications?
Seems like it. Yeah, he seems to love digging up bones at least.
Yeah. All right, I'll put him in the maybe pile. I got to learn a little bit more. I got to look at his resume a little more carefully.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 2 more.
All right.
One is Professor Hershel Layton, so he's already a professor of archaeology at a distinguished institution. He does his best to solve historical mysteries. That's what he really likes about archaeology. He likes solving the mystery of how and why things happened. And he focuses on ancient sites. He really does care about the past. The cons are that people say you can sometimes oversimplify archaeology and can maybe care more about the aspect of solving a puzzle rather than what he's studying. Should we hire him or no?
That sounds pretty good to me. I think that it's a skill is being able to speak to different audiences. So his dumbing down archaeology presumably that's when he's speaking to the public, which I think is not necessarily dumbing down, but to make it consumable to people who don't have knowledge, who aren't trained in that field, I think is a very important skill. One that sometimes archaeologists don't do enough of, and leads to misunderstandings about what archaeologists do and why they do it. And again, I think that, like getting back to our other candidates, Lara Croft and Indiana Jones, a lot of times in movies, people see the end product, which is putting something in a museum, which is also how they consume themselves archaeology. They probably go to a museum and see these artifacts. So they might think like the ends maybe justify the means, or they don't really know the means. And so they might not see kind of how the artifact gets into the museum. But this guy solving puzzles sounds to me a little bit more like we're interested in human behaviors. I feel like I do a lot of puzzle solving. And you said he's an historian?
Archaeologist. I believe
historical archaeologist.
I believe it's a degree in anthropology, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of what I'm doing, my own work is sort of lately is kind of historic or forensic archaeology. Some fun cases like working where a burial is found, a human, is found, and then trying to use historical records and different analytical techniques to see if we can figure out what's that person, who is that person, what's their name, like what's their, finding them in the historical records. So that sounds intriguing to me. So I'd want to interview him and learn more about him. Sounds good to me.
We got our first interview.
All right.
Potential. Maybe also Bandit. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'll look
maybe
into
Bandit.
His bone biting, but
right. If we can get him to not gnaw on the artifacts.
Exactly. Okay, we have one more.
Okay.
Dr. Liara T'Soni from Mass Effect. So this is a maybe also pretty good candidate. Her pros are that she's considered an expert in Prothean archaeology and technology. She's dedicated her life to studying archaeology, and she has a doctorate in anthropology with 50 years of research. Her cons are that she can care more about technology and history than archaeology, like the tools rather than the whole picture. And the other thing is that she is sometimes seen as too young to be reputable, because her species has a lifespan of 1,000 years. So we can kind of translate her 50 years of research maybe to 5 years, although 50 years, no matter what, is still a long time.
Wow.
So Dr. Liara, should we hire her, interview her?
Yeah, I'd like to give her an interview. I don't know the show, so is it a movie? It's a movie
video game, I believe.
Video game, okay. Yeah. I have not played a video game, but her experience and her goals sound interesting to me. She sounds like she's kind of doing similar things to what I do. So yeah, I definitely would want to give her an interview.
Nice. Well, we got 3 possible interviews.
Okay.
Then we'll finish out, we'll fill that position.
Yeah, we'll get somebody good in there.
All right, see you next time.
Thank you.